politicization of what should be a science and medicine issue, this pandemic. These administrators are basically turning what is a scientific and medical question into one of business because they're managing a multi-billion-dollar enterprise here. And I'm not sure they're thinking through all of the potential outcomes. Whenever society has an external shock like this, there are always long-term behavioral and other changes, secular changes, that we can never predict. And I think that, like I say, my prediction of an unintended consequence is that when you start seeing children getting sick and infecting family members and contributing to greater community spread for what can only be described as an effort to keep a business enterprise up and running, that short-sightedness of, not appreciating just 1 year's lost revenue could have much broader long-term effects. I think it's going to, like I say, I think it's going to serve as an accelerant of this discussion of compensating students. Now, I don't know if you have any opinion on that one way or the other. If you don't, I'd certainly be interested if you've thought about any other unintended consequences that might arise from
David,
bringing the sport back.
First of all, I've really sat back and listened to you because you've laid out a very compelling conversation piece here. I do think that is one of the consequences. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get to the other one, but I think could be even a bigger one. Thanks for the call. We'll address it when we come back. One more hour to go.
Think about this little bicycle bell. It may seem small, but it comes from a small business, one of thousands on eBay. Powered by people, millions of people, all over the country, all working to get you exactly what you want, so your little one can safely ride her bike all summer long. That's no small thing. That's everything. Get your thing on eBay.
The Home Depot makes it easier than ever to get going on your summer projects without having to go anywhere. With convenient online shopping, you can find it fast. With convenient delivery options, including free delivery, you can get it fast. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, the Home Depot delivers right to your door. Now with more ways than ever to get summer and summer projects off to a good start. Delivery options from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. Simply put, the UWF men's golf team is the gold standard in the Gulf South Conference, and that was reinforced earlier this week when 8 Argonauts and their coach were named to the GSC Men's Golf All-Decade Team. Chandler Blanchett was named Golfer of the Decade, and Coach Steve Fell was voted Coach of the Decade. Blanchett, along with Juan Miguel Heredia, Jacob Huizinga, Carlos Rodriguez, and Henry Westmoreland, were 5 of the 6 athletes voted onto the first team. Christian Basso was a second-team choice, while Ryan Black and Otto Bonning were honorable mentions. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Rasheed Lovelace for the Pine Forest Eagles. At 6'3", 300 pounds, this young man has incredible strength and the frame to go along with it. Lovelace has picked up offers from Vanderbilt and UAB, yet he is only a junior this year. He primarily played on the offensive line in 2019, but is looking to be the leader of that vaunted defensive line for new head coach Ronnie Douglas and the Eagles. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Gathering at Pensacola Beach is a wonderful family experience. If you thought of having a family celebration or an amazing beach wedding, there's a very special home now available, Casa de Luna. Casa de Luna is spacious with room for large families. It has 9 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. Casa de Luna is a large private home with a refreshing pool and water views. The pool can be heated for swimming in colder months. Casa de Luna is unique in that the main living area is directly on sand level. It's very convenient. Bedrooms are both on the sand level and upstairs. One bathroom is handicap friendly and another has a new jacuzzi. And there's a large gaming porch with pool table, foosball, hockey, ping pong, and Xbox One. Bicycles are provided. Bring your family to Casa de Luna on Pensacola Beach.
For information, call Casa de Luna owner Tim at 791-6400. That's 791-6400. 791-6400.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll get to more on why, well, some more news brewing in Washington. We'll also get to what's happening around the NFL world as the players getting ready to hit somebody, but we'll see for how long.
Emmitt Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trick Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmitt Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. I'm Chad Brillante. Glad to be with you here on this Thursday. Looking forward to getting out there. My uncle's going to be awarded this week and having the opportunity to get to hang out with the family a little. So pretty cool. Looking forward to that as well. Joining us and Okay, so we've been in the room now for 4 months, and now you're wearing the mask, which we do around the room, but do you have something to tell us here?
I don't know. Can you hear me? No, it sounds terrible.
We're not doing it that way. There's a reason for that. Now that sounds even worse. Now that you're pulling the old turn off your headset, you just crushed everybody's eardrums.
Yeah, I did. I apologize.
That's okay. You're the one person. You know, you're the one person I joke because I always give you the eyes. Anybody that's ever worked with me, like with all this stuff over here, we're playing keyboard cat all the time with so many things. We got 4 buttons right here that we can switch at any time to different camera angles. And also hosting, producing, doing all these things while we're talking to everybody on the radio. But when you're the one guy that I usually don't have to worry about the mic.
I know.
And you just completely
being around it, doing from the high school football games, you understand, and there's always those people that touch the mic or forget the mic's on or things like that. Yeah.
And it's a little different for the people that don't know or haven't ever seen us on TV. We're wearing broadcast headphones because we have to move around. We actually like to pick up basketball games in here, so we have to be able to move around. But we've got these broadcast mics, and the difference is if you just move anything or you have a jacket on and you move, you're going to get this. So most people out there, they don't understand that. Like, what are they, eating the microphone like you're seeing on TV? Yes, most radio microphones are right there. But sometimes you'll get it like Coach Jim Haslett was in studio. And not the kind of guy. Look, he was the Defensive Rookie of the Year when he played for Coach K. And, not one of those kind of guys you mess around with. You've seen how he coaches when he's with the Saints, the Redskins, can we say that still? And all the different teams across the board. Well, Jim's up here, and his mic is clearly like out here where you can't hear me now with anything going on. And so after a while, I'm looking at him and pointing. Now he just thinks I'm crazy, which
you are
still up for debate. But then he looks over, and I go right to his mouth, and I grab it and put it this is sounding terrible, and put the mic right there. And he just looks over at me. And I'm like, look, show must go on. Must go on. So going back to the point here, you've just completely ruined 2 years of success.
I know. Well, that's the story of my life.
Right.
Look, the week I've had so far,
I know it seems like it's
everything is
par for the course right now. New Orleans Pelicans announced that forward Zion Williamson, he has a last name, left the NBA bubble at Walt Disney World Resort this morning because of an urgent family matter. Better excuse than Rondo's fake finger, whatever. But family medical matter that he intends to rejoin the team at a later date. And that's important. Look, here's the thing that should happen here. If you have a family member or a medical procedure, if you're like, man, I'm just really in the mood for some of those nacho fries down the road, no, get them out of here. Like that, we're not buying that. That's not an excuse. Everybody has like a list of things like, man, I didn't get much sleep last night. That's why I didn't show up to work. Be like, well, that's called accountability. I'm sorry, you're fired. But if it comes down to people like Zion, if it's a serious medical emergency, look, I've got heart for families and people out there, and we want them. If something's going on with your family, you need to be there for family first.
Yes, 100%.
Screw the bubble, screw Disney. Someone just caught that end of it, and they're like, how dare him? But at that point, you need to go out there, and you need to take care of your family. Always put family number one. I hope people have learned that, if anything, during the whole entire coronavirus, is that we've learned a lot about family. You either get closer and love them, or you are now calling some of those people to live in a condo. Whoever you are, you need to realize, though, that if this is serious, he should be able to leave. But they said, out of respect for Williamson's family, we have no further comments at this point. But once they leave, he'll have to quarantine for 4 days upon the return. If he is negative, then he'll be able to get back out there and play here soon. Remember, the league doesn't start until the 30th, so there is still some time for basketball, even though practices have started. But I look at this and say, okay, it seems like all the appropriate steps are measured. But if you're going back home to see your family that most of us know whether a family has it or not at this point, not 100% certain, and then you're going back home, and then you're coming back to the bubble, you should be okay. You should clear tests and be okay. It's like the kid in class that decides, like, if you just got up in the middle of somebody's lesson and was like, and ran through the door, somebody's going to be like, okay, you know what? Let's get on the phone. Let's get the hall monitor. Do they still have hall monitors, by the way?
Probably.
And you're going to be busted. That hall monitor is ready to do his job. Mall cop. Paul Blart style. But if you say, teacher, may I be excused? Can I go to the restroom? Then you have the right to do that. This is something where these athletes need to just have accountability, I think this is fine. The bubble was intended for the people that are out there trying to fist pump right now at the Roxy down the street in Orlando, and because they've been sitting around their hotel and that late night extra pay-per-views aren't working.
I haven't looked too much into it, with being busy today, but I know I saw something earlier, and maybe it was something they had thought about, but if Zion, while he's gone, gets tested daily, when he comes back, he takes his test as soon as he gets back. If he tests negative, then I think he only had to quarantine, it said, for 2 days. I don't know where I saw that, what that was all about. I know I remember seeing that, but I think obviously it's because, the symptoms can arise. It can take up to 5 days or whatever for that. So I understand, him quarantining for 4 days, but I swear I saw something where if he tests, I think either it's every day or every other day while he's out, being with his family or outside the bubble, as long as he tests negative, when he comes back, when that tests negative, it's 2 days and then he's back in it.
Looking right now at today, the real portion of the Memorial right here. Last week they had a fun one, like one of those races on a Friday night for NASCAR, and then the bad boys are going to get around there on Sunday. Well, you have Tiger Woods going out and Phil Mickelson, and they're both right now finishing up their round even par. So it's a tough course. The course is going to be playing a lot tougher than it was even last week. They've adjusted some of the pin locations, and gosh, I look at these numbers, 7,500 yards. I remember playing a course called Joe Daddy's. It was like 3,900 yards.
Sounds like a mini golf course.
In a way it was, but 60-yard par threes. They actually charge us for a full course. I always ask for half off. Tony Finau right now leading the way, though, at 6 under par. Ryan Palmer, Brendan Steele, Gary Woodland. You know what's cool to see? Look at this. You've got every single one besides John Rahm, who's number 2 in the world, and he's definitely trying to get the numbers up. But right now, every single person on that list, all Americans.
America.
Well, somebody's like, yeah, we're back at it, man. Ryder Cup, we figured it out. And I'm like, or that these people internationally are not traveling to come beat you, and they're all staying put at home. That's a little bit different. Yeah, somebody said that the other day, like, yes, man, you see how many good Americans we. I'm like, no, they're still kicking our tail in it at the Ryder Cup right now. The difference is we are allowing them to play and dominate the scene. So that's good to see as well. 850-623-1330. Tiger, he's literally running out of time because of his age. You can pull off a Bernard Longer. You can maybe have an opportunity to get a couple Tom Watsons in there, but you're not going to win too many majors or really tournaments for that matter on the PGA going towards your 50s. And at this point, do you see Tiger now as a all-in major guy, or do you still expect him to win a tournament here or there? Because they're putting him as one of the favorites when he hasn't played in about 4 months in a competitive tournament.
I see a major guy. I don't – for him, I mean, that's really – at this point, he has nothing else to truly prove. He's just out there to play golf because he loves it. And for a guy like that, I think it's just majors or bust. I mean, I don't think he's true. I think, if anything, things like this, it's like kind of knocking the rust off. Of course, he hasn't played since, what, February? I mean, that's quite some. I mean, I know he's been playing, but not to that competitive level. Look, we can go out there and take batting practice all we want to off the pitching machine, and you can crank that pitching machine up to 95, 100 miles an hour, and you'll get used to it, whatever. And you can even get that pitching machine to throw you curveballs, too. Some of those expensive ones, huh? Never went anywhere you get one of those. But anyway, when you get against a guy, competition, a guy trying to come after you and things, it's different. And I know it's the same thing in golf. I know Adrian Stills, he could speak to this as well. It's different when you get up there against other people than when you're out there yourself just trying to work on a couple things or just play a really good round of golf.
Tap it in.
I'm just saying. But I do want to say this. I don't know how many people watched it last night. I did, just because, it's sports.
The Eagles tour?
No, did not. Was that on last night?
I'm sure it was.
The All-Star race for NASCAR. And the reason it made it people like, yeah, it's NASCAR.
Because you had fans.
Over 20,000 fans in attendance. And I know Bristol's a big place, but they also didn't spread them all the way around. There were certain sections that were off. So, they still packed people in there. I thought that was awesome. And it was so good. You saw the drivers. The drivers loved it. Like, Clint Boyer got the fan vote last night, which is good for Clint Boyer. He come in second in the qualifier there. But I thought that was awesome. And the race was great, too. Chase Elliott finally getting off the schneid a little bit and winning $1 million. Him and his dad are the only other pair outside of the Earnhardts to win the All-Star race, father and son. So that was pretty cool. But going back to it, the coolest thing was actually hearing fans. Like, it's weird because you take it for granted, but hearing fans in the stands when they were announcing people cheering, hearing after the race, cheering, it's like, wait a minute.
It's pretty
This
cool,
is awesome. And I know we got a long way to go. I understand that, folks. I'm not saying anything towards that. I know how words can get twisted. I just thought, like, man, like this is so awesome. Good for NASCAR, and it's a positive, especially if they get good signs from that. It's a good sign for bringing fans back into sports overall.
And let's also, you got to look at the pictures too. If you're out there and you're just saying, what? We're in the middle of what's going on right now, and Bristol has a capacity of 162,000 people. So for you Roll Tiders out there or LSU Tigers, people like the Big House in Michigan, the Horseshoe in Columbus, you're pushing
Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Wasn't going to put it on there, but okay, based on that, if you're going to go Blue Wahoo Stadium route, you can get the equivalent
of 30 people
of actually getting, no, you could get, I want to say the numbers, if you want it, now you're going to make me do a lot of math here.
This is a lot of math.
It's like 25 Blue Wahoo Stadiums, pretty much.
All right. Yeah, that's Bristol's.
Actually, more than that. No, actually, 30, at least about 33 Blue Wahoo Stadiums. So math wasn't even close the first time. See what you're making me do. But overall, what we need to understand is, if you look at those numbers, the Big House, which is one of the biggest right there, Kyle Field at Texas A&M, we're talking about 110, 108. You got 162,000. So you pretty much can get one of those places like the Big House, and they'll throw every single MAC attendance we've ever seen on action for a history of 20 years into that stadium. And you would still have a situation where the amount of people to be able to get 20,000 looks like an empty seat. So they were able to bring, just like anybody right now, they can be in groups of 10, things like that. So people got with two families. They took their temperature before they came in. They took the precautionary measures, and they got to watch with fans. That's what, like everything in life.
Don't you be talking sense over there, sir. Stop it.
If you take precautionary measures and you do the right things, then things can get solved. Think about the things that the numbers have gone up that people are talking about. Yeah, look, spring break, beaches, I've been at a couple. People are more worried about fist bumping to pit bull and jumping into a one of those flamingo blow-ups in a pool with 500 other people that aren't worried about social distancing. Actually, if you're lucky, you don't social distance. Hey, if you got that. But overall, what you need to understand is that they're not in it with the idea of safety. A lot of these people going to this race in Bristol, they were going with their families. They knew coming in that they had to sit away from everybody. But look at the pictures. If you look at these pictures, they're pretty much in a spot where everybody's able to be respectful of other people, just like if you'd go to a grocery store. Are you one of the guys that's been busted with the arrows, not following the arrows?
I did. And
you did? Okay.
Yeah,
I called you out. I actually.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I always talk about it on Talk Football, Coach K, about just if it's an arrow, take an extra second. And I get so caught up and I forget there's arrows, and then I immediately turn down that aisle, and everybody's coming at me, and I just turn around in shame and go the other way.
Well, the lady did not like it behind me when I dropped the banana peel, and she spun out because I got
a little Mario Kart.
I was zooming. I hit the arrow and then took off to the cheese area.
Did you get the blue shell?
And well, I got the star.
Shell.
Got the star and got to go. But she hit the peel, and she went right into it. Lost all her groceries. She was not laughing. I was like, "Uh-oh, just push restart." She was like, "What?" And she didn't know what was happening. I just kept. But
then you realized you had had a little too much to drink.
That's shouldn't be eating bananas in the middle of Publix. I didn't pay for them yet. But overall, we need to understand though that if you take the right steps, we should be able to get all this stuff done. And don't pick or choose your battles. Don't allow. That's all I ask for everybody. I'm a big believer in people having the rights, which our country's always been founded on, to make the right decisions. Now, if you're breaking the law or you're doing something outside the lines at anywhere, you should deserve to get reprimanded. But don't act like when we have drone flyovers in L.A. County that's dealing with tough numbers right now, and so is the state of Florida, that have 200, 300,000 people out there. And don't just say it was wearing masks, so were the people at the park, 20,000. But you see that for a week and you see nothing, and then same people are calling out people for going to a race. just don't be that guy. Don't be that person. I'm telling you, whether I agree or disagree, I respect everybody's values and the right as an American to do both.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, don't be that person to feel like what you did you're entitled to, and then what people are doing now that races are coming back or people want to get back into baseball, that you're the person saying they can't do it. Because people that say they don't need sports, 20 million people watched a guy that we don't like sitting in his basement eating what looked like Mentos for about 2 hours to hear names that you could have got your phone on an update going da-na-na, da-na-na in the NFL draft. 20 million people watched a guy sitting in his basement to make picks. That's how much we need sports. So don't be the person that says, sports are ancillary, we can skip it. You skip that, you know how many people you're putting out of business to? We're not talking about the fat cats out there, the rich ones that make a lot of money. Some of the athletes and the owners, they can take a hit and come back. Look, Quentin Rishi Studer and the whole Blue Wahoos organization, they're very creative, and they've done a ton with Airbnbs going national. They just won the AA affiliate right there, Stadium once again of the year in AA baseball.
Second or third time it's
crushing
happened?
it, and it's a beautiful ballpark.
Yep.
They do an awesome job. Their whole staff down there does an amazing job. But what I will say, too, though, is that they're taking a big hit, but some people will be able to recover from it. But guess how many people that worked as the vendors down there, or maybe the people on the crew that were down there in the field that had to get furloughed, or people within organizations that won't be able to work? Because you're talking about hundreds to thousands of employees that now won't have a job. And I'm not just saying Wahoos. I'm talking on a bigger scale. That they've done that for 40 years. The guy that sells Nathan hot dogs at Wrigley Field, who now, if he's just like, get your hot dog, now he just looks like he's schizophrenic because there's nobody at the stadium. Like, let's understand that there's a lot of people like that. So it's not just sports. Sports cultivates many opportunities for so many people across the board to be part of it. We wouldn't have a job in this room without sports. Yep. We might be talking something else, which might get real scary. But overall, what we do for a living is show up.
Shrubbery.
Yeah, exactly. We
nice
join Larry Morris on Pensacola CDR. We'll get that. Yeah, that's right. But just, I hope people understand that. When people are like, we don't need sports, you do understand that's such a broad topic. Because that doesn't make much sense once you start breaking it down. How many people and their jobs are affected on a daily life by that? When we come back, we'll get to more on what's going on here, including one of the Washington Redskins. They thought maybe just change their name, get ready for a season to go another 2-14 with the Washington Haskins, and next thing you know, they get this story that nobody wanted to see. But if it's all true, it needs to be known because people like this shouldn't be hiding. And we'll tell you more on this when we return. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
There are kids in this country who didn't have a parent at their baseball games or recitals because their parents were serving in faraway places. But now they're coming home, and Wounded Warrior Project assists them through the Warriors to Work program.
My mom used to be a tank programmer. Now she works with computers. I'm really glad she's home because I can't eat my dad's marshmallow macaroni anymore.
To support the Warriors to Work program, contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
Are you ready to kickstart your career or maybe make a change in your current career? George Stone Technical College offers short-term, hands-on programs that equip you with industry-recognized certifications in fields that offer jobs right here in the Pensacola area. And starting in August, George Stone Technical College is offering face-to-face instruction. To learn all about the programs, costs, and schedules, visit georgestonecollege.edu. That's georgestonecollege.edu.
What'd you do this time, Brad?
I'm in the doghouse after my hunting trip last weekend.
Yeah, I was too. I blew off our date.
How'd you get out of the doghouse?
Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa. I got her a gift card. It took 3 minutes at swmedspa.com. She booked it this Saturday.
Saturday? So 9 holes then?
Tee time's at 8.
To enjoy a hassle-free guys weekend, treat her to a gift card from Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa. Follow Stillwater's on Facebook or Instagram to enter contests and win great prizes. Or visit swmedspa.com.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
In Pensacola, local and national sports live here. Catch the play-by-play of every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos and your national champion West Florida Argonauts football team. Your local high school football games during football season are here, along with the best local sports talk in the biz with Talk Football and the Sports Drive weekdays and Sports Call every Saturday. When it comes to sports radio, there's only one place, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Ain't got a print a resume. Take off. Talk crazy, I pull up underlay. RP to Nate, dog. I had to regulate.
Hey, turn that beat down.
Public service announcement.
And welcome back, 5:24 on this Thursday afternoon. Chad Berliante, DJ JP over here, breaking it down.
I just have to smile.
You know those GIFs? Is that what we call them right there?
Is it a GIF or a GIF?
A GIF or a GIF, but the ones that just keep going. That looked like your dance move, like just you were in the same
It's actually
move
1
where
second,
you're
but
actually,
you keep watching it, thinking it's going to change, but it's just continuing to
repeat. Is this guy live? Be like, is he live? He's doing the same thing over. But when it comes down to the NCAA, we know right now we don't know all the answers.
Neither did they.
I mean, honestly, if we walked around here, and not to say that the Panhandle of Florida should speak on behalf of everybody in the nation, because it is different. Living out in Vegas, more people are like back when he was still the man, Black Mamba. He always will be the man, but everybody was more worried about what Kobe was doing at the Staples Center that night. And this was before the Las Vegas Knights and some of the teams, but they didn't care. I actually had a few people, and I know this is blasphemy around here, so earmuffs if you're a Florida fan, but a couple people that were like, who's Tim Tebow? I was like, whoa, you say that around there, you might get a rock there. But some people didn't understand that college football wasn't life out there. For UNLV, we would go to the tailgates, and then people would go to the roulette wheel or go watch the game at the sports book and watch the big dogs.
How dare them.
Nobody really, for basketball, though.
They never lived.
They loved it. Thomas Mack Center right there, going to watch from the days of the Shark, Jerry Tarkanian. People watched basketball in Vegas. Everywhere is different around the country. And we also need to understand, though, there are going to be people that are fighting for one thing, like always, money. And the second that's off the table, because we know these college football teams are going to take a drastic hit this year. You're going to lose money in TV revenue because they're not going to be able to afford to pay the same prices. Same thing with all the companies that are sponsoring. Same thing also with the attendance. Even though it's the TV revenue is huge, you talk about some of those games like Georgia Notre Dame, and you can fit 100,000 people, and on average you're paying $500 to $1,000 a ticket. A lot of cash you're bringing in. A lot of cash. So there are going to be people within that institution that once that's off the table, that are going to say you can't play football. Because the money generated from the football games is dipped in to help that education reform or help that new building going up for science. Let's be real with what is going on here when it comes to grants and funding. Big-time college football in the South generates the opportunities for other kids to be able to go to law school, get that engineering degree, and go to a Boston Robotics. The money and the opportunities from football helps grow everything in the South, especially in the SEC and schools like Florida State, Clemson. We understand that this is not going to be perfect, but when people like Mark Emmert today, the president, says we need better handle on the pandemic to play, it's disappointing when he says that, and I understand what he means. I'm not just one of these like, get her done, get them out there, hit them hard, man, 15-yard penalty, my beep, like none of that. But why are you saying this when you are the one right now that should be saying, I'm the one that needs to take the initiative to figure out a game plan, like all these other leagues we're watching that are figuring out a game plan to get it done? Adam Silver, little round of applause. He's figured it out, and people might not be happy. Rajon Rondo didn't like his Motel 6, apparently, 5-star room. But some people need to understand, though, that these leagues are still figuring it out. Baseball's going to start next week. You've got NBA basketball that's going to begin on the 30th in 2 weeks from now. NHL is going to resume their season as well. So that leaves one other main sport, and the NFL is figuring it out too. The semantics of playing in the NFL and playing in college are the same exact semantics of trying to figure it out. Players, 11 on each side, rosters coming down, coaches, if they're older, they probably should be safe in a press box, even if people have been tested. Whatever the case is, it's still the same platform. Stadium design, what they need to do with camera angles for the crews that are going to be filming it, the reporters and cameramen that are going to be out there working with the networks, it's all the same. So if the NFL can figure this out and college football cannot, all it's saying is college football did not want to take a huge hit and still send the kids out there. Because other people are figuring it out. And there are patterns to make sure that if you test positive, to have backup players that can go out and play. You might have to add a few extra guys to the roster where if 2 or 3 guys test positive that week, tough apples. Your starting quarterback's going to miss that game, and accountability. He didn't test positive last week. Right now, we had numbers go from 28 to 2 and then to 0 for 6 teams in the SEC that were testing 1 or 2 players total, tops, at this point. Based on that, from going like Kentucky, who had in the 20s when they first got on campus, to now, we should be able to look and realize that in a matter of 2 weeks, if they were able to self-isolate, get tested, or those players were off, and then a couple weeks later get retested and be down to 0, that within the next 6 to 8 weeks, those players should be able to do the same. If anything, they should be held accountable and not go back out, the ones that got tested, because we know the one place over in LSU where they got tested, and that place, yeah, more than a couple people did. So we do need to understand that this is something that is vital to understanding that we can figure this out. When people say, though, that we need to get a better handle on the pandemic, things outside can be happening. Like Orlando is still a hotbed right now, but the NBA still can figure it out to play. So you can figure it out on your college campus without your city being in the perfect shape. And it's going to be tougher in cities like Los Angeles than it would be for the North Dakota Fighting Sioux. But we just need to understand that when they say we can't figure this out, or we've got to get a better grip on it, Mark, you're the guy right now, President Emmert, you're the guy right now we're looking for some answers. The commissioners, the people in charge, to work with people and figure this out together, because we have blueprints galore in front of our face that are getting it done, and you're 6 weeks out saying, I don't think we're going to play, when other people are getting on the field now. So to all that I just said, because I part of a discussion, because everybody doesn't agree with what I said, part of a discussion is both sides to it. But I would love to hear the other side of how other leagues, and if the NFL can figure it out, why college football can't figure it out. And if it's about the travel, then you figure out your schedule, and that's why they're playing in conference. But we all know what it is. A lot of these leagues are going to lose a ton of money, and they're not going to get the big following network money that the NFL generates. And these smaller schools, they're going to dip out like they already have. There's a reason the NJCAA already has said, we're done. And there's a reason why other leagues like the SEC haven't even made a decision on conference schedules. Because once again, the blueprint for football is the same exact thing for both the NJCAA and the SEC. But one is waiting, counting their blessings so they can get that Bojangles commercial coming to them. We're coming back for more with Adrian Stills, teed up at Osceola Golf Course. Looking forward to this interview as the Memorial. Tiger Woods back out on the course this week. We'll break down some more of the matches going on right now, and we'll talk some local golf as the weather's starting to heat up. Nice place to get under some trees, get in the AC afterwards right there, get a good meal, and talk some golf when we return right here with Adrian Stills.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best networks, same as the big carriers, for up to 50% less. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Welcome to Bowl! Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. You know, snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
Introducing a new podcast, ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Mina Kimes. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. The best sports story all day, 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. ESPN Daily. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Sometimes I feel the fear of uncertainty.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola. Going back a little old school here with some Incubus here. I don't know. He always comes into a song that, I'm sure maybe he heard on one of his kids' CDs one day. As joining us now, Adrian Stills. Sorry, look at this. I'm already throwing the digs out here. And we already did fist bumps through the glass like that, and now we're out here. But Adrian, it's been a long week, I know, for you. You were over in Jacksonville. How did that go, by the way? Everything go well?
Everything went great. We were at the World Golf Village Thursday and Friday, golf tournament with this group that I'm doing golf tournaments for. And then Monday and Tuesday we were in Orlando. So we had two back-to-back events, and Everything went great. I got a chance to meet Jay Monahan, the PGA Tour commissioner. It was very cool. Very cool.
I wanted to ask you this question. This is just a me question here, but if you ever won a big tournament and it was after Rocky, did everyone ever go, "Yo, Adrian," on the course?
It doesn't have to be after Rocky.
Okay,
it could be after breakfast at a Denny's.
Maybe you were the one that started that before Sylvester Stallone. I don't know.
No,
you still get that, though, a lot with the...
I do occasionally. I do. Not
Look,
so much now because everybody – it's funny. A lot of kids don't know who Rocky is.
I know. I was just telling a story when I lived in Vegas. It's more about the NBA out there with the Lakers and somebody. And one time I was bringing up a conversation with somebody that knew the game. They were at the sports book and we were talking. And I was like, yeah, Tim Tebow. And he was like, oh, that guy. He's like, where does he play again? And I'm like, ooh, if you said that around my parents. Whoa.
Words.
Like, who's Nick Saban? Lou Saban? But when it comes down to what we see right now, with what's going on in the world of golf. They're figuring it out. They're getting out there and playing. Tiger's back out there today at the Memorial, a tournament that he's won 5 times. Sure. It's Jack's course, so he likes to get out there. Yep. Have you had a chance to play Deerfield Village?
Many, many years ago. I didn't get in the tournament when I was on tour, but I played shortly after that because our relationship with the resort I used to work at in Orlando, Grand Cypress. Jack built Grand Cypress and Deerfield Village, so a lot of the tour players that practiced at Grand Cypress were also got a chance. Well, anyway, I played the course a couple times. Never in a tournament, though.
Well, one thing we do know from seeing the course, and it's in pretty good shape, and you don't have as many people out there playing, so you can keep the courses in pretty good shape. But Tiger, he's even par right now on his day, finishing up right now. We're looking at the scores. Also, Phil Mickelson sitting there at even par. Brooks Koepka at even, who is like, unless it's a major. Bryson DeChambeau actually shot 1 over. That's like a shocking news alert here. But you have Tony Finau, an up-and-coming golfer, doing well at 6 under. And you got to be proud of Tony the way he's battled. If he can be more consistent, but he's got the type of game in his swing that one day – he could take that next step.
Yeah, I got a chance to play with that guy about 7 years ago, on Advocates Pro Golf Tour that I do. And he's an amazing story. Hits at 8 miles. It's got a great touch and a great perspective on things. He's actually been a golf professional since he was 18 or 17 and has taken the tough road, but he's got major skills, major talent.
Adrian, I want to bring this up because, from a standpoint of being around the game, now the bodies of Craig Stadler, the Walrus, and some of the guys, I used to joke seeing Tim Herron when anytime that's a hot summer day and you've got, I did this, I realized at this point when I could use the dad bod excuse, but where you have the sweat mark that makes the Kool-Aid man, we all know that, the little smiley face. So not a big fan. Colin Montgomery's been there, but so we get there, we get to the point though.
How do I unsee this?
Sorry, nobody wants to see this. Now I'm picturing this image, but not everybody looked like Bryson DeChambeau. That's where we're going. Yeah. Now, when you have a golfer that looks like that, you're going to get a lot of questions when he's gained 25 pounds. He's crushing the ball. But I wanted to ask you, because in baseball we know that Barry Bonds was one of the greatest of all time. However, his head grew the size of a blimp, and people then all of a sudden just sort of disregarded that he was a 7-time MVP. Right. Or he never missed one single pitch in his career, but public perception deems him, he's not in the Hall of Fame, when the second most MVPs in the history of baseball, they have 3. Wow. Stan Musial, a couple guys have 3. Barry Bonds has 7, but he's not in the Hall of Fame because of public perception.
Sure.
That we sort of all know. But overall, when it comes to golf, if something happened where Bryson DeChambeau, it came back on that, how does the golf world, because you have been on the PGA, how does the golf world look at that guy? Is everything he has done, is it taken away? Because making a 15, 20-foot putt has nothing to do with going and doing some curls at the gym.
Right. Two parts to that answer. The golf world will find a way to make an exception for that. But I'm 99% sure this guy is too smart, and he's already been successful, and he'd won 5 times before the explosion of body mass or muscle and the ability to swing a golf club so much faster and still keep it on the planet. I doubt if that's what he's done. I mean, I mean, you can, at his age, and he's still got the testosterone going, he could put on that kind of muscle, and he's always had a swing that kept the club face going down the target line longer than most people. So he figured out, hey, if I just learn to swing a little faster and put on some weight and some power behind it, lo and behold, you got this. I had no idea he'd be able to do this much this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the golf world will be able to handle it, and go on from there. But again, I'd be personally very shocked if that's what he's doing.
I just wanted to see, because a lot of people today, everybody wants to read the headlines but not the paper. But in golf, you understand that there's so much to bigger players does not mean you always dominate the tour. There, Ian Woosnam, you have to sort of, he still can't get on some of the rides at Disney World, but overall there's some guys that, I know that was mean, you look at me, but overall there's some guys out there that have been able to play for a long time. Corey Pavin at the size, and we know it's a game where if you can, go out there and your short game's on fire, you could take it to the next level. My brother actually was on yesterday at the Golf Channel. He was saying that Hideki Matsuyama, if he ever could figure out how to putt, because his putting average, he said, is one of the worst on tour. He's pretty much at the bottom, but everything else, his striking accuracy off the tee, he ranks in the top 3 or 4 in every category, and I think he's ranked 23rd in the world. But there are some people like that they can do everything that way, but if you're not making those 20-foot putts, then it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, that putter is the ultimate equalizer, and again, getting back to your point with Bison, if it's just a power deal, he still would not be where he is and what he's doing. You look at the guy, the last 5-10 events, he's been in the top 10 in putting.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand you could possibly get it closer to the hole with a wedge than you could with a 7-iron, but the guy has been rolling the rock. He's been putting very well. His short game is very good. So even though he's having a couple issues with the wedges, but for the most part, there's got to be a combination of two. You just can't be a slugger in the game of golf. You've got to have the ability to get the ball in the hole, and unfortunately or fortunately, a putt that's 1 inch long has as much relevancy as a 324-yard drive like he hit the first hole at Memorial today. Hit it 327 or something. Who does that?
Yeah,
and it's crazy. But he's gonna make the USGA and some other people kind of say, okay, it might be time to kind of back something up or make it to where there's a little bit more disbursement or something pattern going on with the golf club. It's just too easy for the top people in the game to swing hard and not hit it crooked.
We're speaking with Adrian Stills every Thursday, teed up here with the pro from Osceola Golf Course. And Adrian, from 1926, when Osceola Golf Course, there's been some renovations. I'd hope you too. You understand there's been a few out there, but
I remember those days.
The carts look a little different, But when it comes down to artifacts, we know a thing or two. St. Augustine now has that shirt that is right below us, but we understand also that a lot of things change, construction, but have you ever seen something based on 1926, one of the older, on the part of that Florida Trail, of course, is have you ever found something or somebody out there that you look back and you're like, I have never seen this on the golf course?
It's funny. When we were doing renovations of the golf course, we found all this old stuff inside the City Hall notes from Tillinghast. He had walked the grounds of Osceola Golf Course, and he had made recommendations. At the time, it was 9 holes in 1926 and became 18 holes in 1929. And I'm starting to see, or I still see remnants of, like, if you can go to Shinnecock and some of the older golf courses, his design is still relevant today as far as some of the shapes and movements of the greens. They did a lot of things with bunkering, and they did a lot of things with just they weren't really big at that point in time on worrying about trying to make the golf course receptible for run-up shots as much. But the greens are hard and fast, and so on and so forth, and those things make a difference. You can look at today, they're playing a Memorial Golf Course. Last week, they're playing Muirfield Village in Jack's tournament this week. Last week, they played the Workday tournament on the same golf course, but they let the rough grow up, and they got the greens faster. And now, of course, they had wind today, but now 4 under's leading the golf tournament. And, contingent upon conditions changing, 12 under is going to win the golf tournament, maybe even 10. So Mother Nature and just making greens hard and fast and growing up rough will take its toll.
What a classic finish, too, without the crowd. Are you for or against? Golf is a pure sport. It is not meant for people waving things and having vuvuzelas played in the crowd. But
Vuvuzelas?
yeah, that was from South Africa.
That's
when we had
impressive.
Listen, knowledge expands worldwide right there. Or I got really annoyed with them, and I remember it for life, having to hear it when I was watching the World Cup that year.
I know.
And I remember Shakira singing
thanks.
and that.
Yeah.
But don't ask me why the other part. But when it comes down to let's just say vuvuzelas. If my wife, just vuvuzelas.
Okay.
But when it comes
on.
down to what's going on right now at Osceola Golf Course, it's a little bit hotter. I did some yard work this week, and I'm young and should be able to have no problems. But I also I wasn't going to lie. I almost looked up that number and was like, I'm not doing that again. But, when you are at that point, it's getting hot. You also need to have some stations out there. And for the people out there that are a little bit afraid to do anything outdoors right now because of the heat, tell them why golf is a little bit different, because you are under that cart. You are under a chance to get shade under the trees. If you're really bad, you get a lot of shade under the trees. And then you get to go back to a clubhouse that's full of AC and the opportunities. Talk about why golf is safe for the people that might be talking about how hot it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, with the pandemic going on, you can keep the safe distance when you play golf, but you're absolutely right. When you play a regular round of golf and you're in the golf cart, you're moving. Yeah, I mean, you got that 2 seconds, you swing at the ball, you get in the cart, you're in the shade, and then you move. So you got air circulating around. Our facility, as far as practice is concerned, we have a covered area for people to hit under, and that's at least 10 degrees cooler under that spot. So all those things kind of lend itself for golf not being that bad. You may think, well, I'm going to be out in the air in the sun for 3.5, 4 hours, but you're moving, you're sheltered most of the time in the golf cart. It is a great opportunity to get out, get some fresh air. These days, I know we all need it, especially going through this mass protocol, which is difficult for all of us.
Well, Adrian, from tee to green, let's get into the golf tip of the day. An opportunity here to give us all, I'm going to be writing it down. I got my pen out right now. What is one tip that you feel today that you could give some people some advice on that could lower a couple shots off their game or at least help them understand the game better?
You know, Ted, the last part of what you asked, the last part of your question is lower some shots off their scores. It's not sexy to be a good chipper and good putter, but it most definitely is easier to lower your score by chipping and putting. And we have a big 6,000 square foot putting green, chipping area. Practice your short game, people. Get out there and say, all right, I've got an hour and a half to practice my golf. I'm going to go to a range, our facility, I hope, but any golf course, and spend the first 30 minutes making sure you hit short putts from 3 feet, from 10 feet, from 15 feet. Pick those balls up, put them back in the basket, then at least hit 20 or 30 little chip shots right on the collar of the green. It'll help your hand-eye coordination. It'll enhance your ability to be able to hit the ball up. You'll get the concept of being able to hit the ball solid and then progress to the range. Even if you have the worst golf swing in the planet, which a lot of us do, if you're working at that part of the game, working from the hole backwards is the way you get better score-wise in golf. It's not sexy, but it gets the job done.
And he doesn't mean go out tonight to your favorite restaurant and put in the dollar and just slightly move on golden tee. He's talking about really going out there and working on the game. So,
yeah.
But overall, it's something that we understand is you're right though. When I was playing at a decent level, and when I say this, I don't even want to get in the realm because I'm sitting with the PGA Pro. But when it comes down to playing, I remember one of the guys that ended up playing at Troy on our team back at Melbourne Central Catholic. He was his teacher just got him out there, and he was an older guy, but he was very wise, and all he said was, you're going to hit 100 balls out of this bunker, and until you hole out, you'll hit another 100. And if you don't hold out, and he was a bad bunker player, but it was the one part of his game that was effective. Crushed the ball off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the old school guys. I don't know, as a sweaty Italian, how he can do it, but he would play in summer tournaments in Orlando and without a golf club and hit the ball 320 off the tee. And I'm sitting there going, I can't even grip onto this club right now.
Wow.
I'm using baby powder. People are like thinking like I'm doing some LeBron thing, and I'm like realizing that, no, I'm just trying to grip onto the club with two clubs. Well, the one thing, though, is he got way better, and his short game, not only did his bunker game progress, but his short game around, he knew, because once you get to that point where you feel like you can hold out from the bunker, you know that you're going to be pretty much within the vicinity. Where most every golfer that hasn't played in a while, you get in that bunker.
Yeah.
You're just lucky if you're like, hey, do you mind me taking an extra shot, or you just don't want to hit out of it. But this guy, when you practice that at something, go for what you know if you're already good, like you're saying, and work on that short game. But that's a great tip.
Well, I mean, if you look at what you have to do in a bunker, you've got to be able to create speed at the bottom of your swing. You've got to be able to put the club face in the sand behind the ball at the spot you're looking at, which typically is about 2 inches or a credit card length behind the ball. So that enhances your timing to be able to get your chest over that spot so that your club bottoms out 2 inches behind the golf ball. And then you got to follow through. So pivoting, all of the aspects that your full swing needs, being able to make the club head come down, hit the ball first and the ground second on full swing shots out of the fairway, being able to control where your club hits the ground in the sand trap, enhances your ability to hit all your other golf shots. Bunker shots and pitch shots are like miniature full golf swings. They have all of the ingredients, and you got to do it in half the time. So that's a great one to practice. Those two are great to practice.
Well, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Adrian Stills, Osceola Golf Course, giving us some tee to green tips here on the show today with just the nice music. I feel like taking us out to break. A little calmer right there.
Oh, you did not go Augusta. You sure did. You're killing
tradition.
We got
unlike
the bird.
any other.
Do we have birds in the background?
It's going to turn into a Pitbull song in about 2 seconds. Sports Drive coming back for more. Somebody just turned us off for that one.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-285-4954. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-285-4954. 800-285-4954.
Look, chicken restaurants are nothing new. But if you're saying, been there, done that, it tastes like chicken. Well, if your friends offer you a brand new convertible or a broken down station wagon with 3 wheels, do you say, hey, they're both cars? Well, the people have spoken. Mr. Pollo on 9th Avenue was voted top 100 places to eat in the country by Yelp at number 61. Making chicken great again, America. It's that good. Try it and you'll be hooked for life. The freshest ingredients and the perfect catering for any big party. Mr. Pollo. It means chicken.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly! Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
This is Northwest Florida's all sports, all the time station. From Destin to New Orleans, sports fans come here for ESPN and local sports talk. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Little Chris Berman and TJ right here. Little NFL prime time.
It could go all the way.
Michael Jackson with the touchdown. Look, I remember back when we always went to church at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Okay. And we get back at 7, and that's when all the afternoon games were ending. Right. And this was before cell phones and a lot of the other stuff where people would text you the scores or you could get the updates. Mm-hmm. Still need to turn your phone off in your church. I just want to make that clear. But overall, if you're setting fantasy football rosters, you're not in the right place. I don't know. I don't think that's not in the Bible, like how God looks at setting your fantasy football roster before you enter the church. But I just have a feeling it's not why you're there. I'm telling you, though, it's crazy, though, because times have changed a lot where back then it was the only place to get all of the games. Mm-hmm. Was to watch NFL primetime. Right. And the same thing with golf in a lot of ways is you had to watch the tournament. You didn't have the golf channel. You didn't have everything going on. And I think it's pretty cool, though, to know that we can miss a tournament like today or be working and then go back and still watch from your phone or somewhere, still be able to watch Tony Finau's round and what's been happening.
Right.
And that's a luxury that, especially in the time that we're in right now, that has been great to have, that golf has given us an outlet, because I'm not a huge NASCAR guy, but I respect it. But having that chance to watch golf has been awesome.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. Even without the crowds, I'm almost used to it. So, it's not going to work for Augusta, but I'm sure they'll come up with something.
Nope. When we come back, though, I do want to get into some of the tournaments coming up here, the majors, and we can also talk a little more local golf and your trip last week. Coming back for more Sports Drive with Adrian Stills, teed up right here with Osceola.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll talk with Adrian Stills, Osceola Golf Course, as we do, teed up every Thursday to get to more on the latest and what's happening in local, national golf, and the biggest stories, and also talk some college football.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and is caught for the first. It's Baldwin, shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Second hour of the show goes now. I am Chad Brillante alongside Adrian Stills, Osceola Golf Course, as we teed up each and every Thursday here on the show. JP, kind enough to make some time out there. He's chilling. We got a new, little one of those Margaritaville machines back there. So he's back. No, I wish. I wish. I'm trying to send out these feelers in case somebody's hearing, and one day we do, but I don't think that's on anybody's agenda when you're actually having to cut costs these days of, hey, you know what? Chad's keeps sending this in the inbox here with a margarita machine in the back right there. Do you guys have anything over at you're like, I'm not answering that question.
No.
But do you guys over at Osceola have something pretty cool that most places don't have when it comes to something like that?
Well,
not a margarita machine, but I'm saying
not so much.
Not so much that. That's not the path where I was going here.
You know, the restaurant is at the golf course. They renovated the clubhouse a few years back, and it's fabulous. It's we do a lot of weddings and receptions. At Fusion Grill is the name of the facility, and they have a great bar, fully staffed bar there, so you can get an adult beverage in and out around the golf course, and then of course the practice facility is right outside the glass windows. So you get an opportunity to have some fun and relax, and even if you don't have the 4 hours to go tee it up at the golf course, you can have a good time in the restaurant, and then also obviously with the driving range and the practice facility. So it's a good spot.
Adrian, last week you were over in the Jacksonville area, Ponte Vedra, and had a chance at the PGA Village. Talk a little bit about the experience. I mean, I know that you travel a lot for business in the golf world, but the opportunity, how does the golf industry feel right now? Because I know when you're meeting now, it's different around the country, but I was talking with Joe Williams, the athletic director at Washington High School, and he says it's always funny because they have a task force that this Monday will make a big decision for the state of Florida on whether or not high school football, what dates they're coming back. And he goes, obviously, you're not going to get the same in Blountstown as you're going to get in Naples and some other areas with people agreeing. But what do you see when you go to these meetings about collectively across the board how the golf industry is looking right now?
You know, actually, the industry as a whole is doing quite well. Everybody's numbers are up because in most, but not all states, they've considered golf one of those activities that people can do, and they can keep their social distance. So from that standpoint, it's been great. The World Golf Village, we had a golf tournament at the Slammer and the Squire Golf Course on Thursday and Friday. Monday and Tuesday they're closed. Monday the golf course is closed for maintenance. Tuesday, the whole facility gets scrubbed down. I mean, it's amazing. We stayed right there at the Renaissance Hotel. All of the carts, we do that every day, but they really scrub everything down and continue doing that going forward for the rest of the week. But they take that whole extra day off to do that, and then they're slammed for the rest of the week. But it keeps the facility looking good, and it makes it more healthy and safe for everybody else. And I think, and then we did that Thursday and Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday I was in Orlando for another event, another course there. And same thing, very busy. People are coming out and taking advantage of one of the few activities they can do and be safe while they're doing it. It's a lifetime sport, so people from all ages are out participating, and I hate to say it, it's been really pretty good for golf from a standpoint of getting people back to the game, getting families closer together, because you have kids and parents now. Hey, well, listen, I can do that with them, so it kind of works out.
When you had a chance to play at the highest level on the PGA, and you look at a guy like Tiger Woods coming back, now he's, I'm sure, been playing plenty of golf. We saw him out there with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and guys like Phil Mickelson. But when it comes down to playing in tournaments, tour events, there is a different feeling. When you had a chance to play, and I know things have changed a lot, and following Tiger's group is different for everybody. Right. Today, actually, is the time you probably want to take advantage of playing a final round with Tiger because his group looks like yours. There's the cameraman and the guy holding the flag, which is your caddy. So at this point, we need to understand that it's not always going to be that way. But when you played, did you ever feel like if there was a guy that was having a good round or a guy that was having a bad round, that it was easy to sort of fall into that? Or when you're that good, because average golfers sometimes, if you're playing with a really crappy guy out there, you might play down to the competition or hang out, you don't mind. But if you're playing with that guy that you've always wanted to beat, and even though he thinks it's out for a business deal, you're like lining up the putts, going behind the hole every time. Do you see that on the PGA Tour as well? If a guy's just having an awful round, or they're that good?
Well, to use a NASCAR vernacular, they do draft off each other. I mean, if you get somebody playing well in your group, you tend to kind of, you don't see the hazards as much because he's striping it, and then you start hitting a couple good shots, and then all of a sudden your mindset is very good. The other way around, if you get somebody that's playing very poorly, you've got to put the extra effort in staying in your bubble and playing your kind of game. I played behind a long time ago. Greg Norman in the Canadian Open, it was the only major I ever made the cut in. And Greg was right in front of me, and he's hitting it all over the map on Saturday. And I'm seeing the crowds moving from one side of the fairway to the other. And then we get to the scoreboard on like number 16 at Glen Abbey, and I'm looking, and Greg's got it like 6 or 7 under that day. And here I am 1 under, and I have missed a fairway. And he's got people all over the place following his antics of going all over the place at the time. But yeah, it with Tiger right now, no crowds out there. The guys that don't have to play in front of him, don't have the crowds getting position, so they can watch Tiger come down the line. So from a crowd standpoint, it's a little easier for them to play around Tiger. And playing with a good player is always a good thing. To me, it was never more pressure, especially after the first couple of tour events. It was more, let me stay in my own world, and then, if I get a chance, I'm going to look and see how he handles different things from a standpoint of what my weaknesses were and what I could learn from what they do.
I just always wondered how many times, because I loved his attire, but I always wondered how many times at the beach Greg Norman caused a complete panic. When somebody was like, "Hey, Shark!" and then all of a sudden the kid's like, "Get out of the pool! Get him out of here right now! Get him!" And like all the families, like you're in the movie, and he's like, "No, I just was calling out my ballot." Like that would be the worst right there.
Yeah.
You got to think when you're yelling Greg Norman's nickname at the beach. It's not good for any of the kids right there.
Good point.
Like that old basketball player Rodney Baum. He was, But overall, when it comes down to everything going on right now in golf, we understand Bryson DeChambeau hit actually a 423-yard drive today. Wow. The equipment, how much? A lot of people still have their clubs from maybe 2003. I think we've moved on. When I say I just called out my clubs literally, but when it comes down to some of the newer equipment out there, how much of an advancement? Because I felt like when you had that surge of Ernie Els was really one of the big names for TaylorMade, and you had guys like Tom Lehman and some of those guys playing, and then Mark O'Mara jumped on board. But then you had Titleist that came out with some great irons, and everybody wanted the Titleist. Nike tried, but Tiger realized after a while we're going back to Titleist.
Right.
What can you see today in the golf world where has it got to that next level? Because I felt like when I was playing, even back then in 2003, it was something where the equipment is still pretty amazing to what you're looking at today. Callaway came out with some big brands. Has there been that much advancement on the clubs today compared to a decade ago?
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. First it was the golf club heads themselves, going from obviously persimmon to the titanium and all kind of really oversized club heads that were twice as big as the old clubs that the guys used to use, but much lighter, so you had more forgiving faces. So they started with that, and then it's the evolution of the shafts and how they can go ahead and get a shaft to match your club head speed and to enhance your ability to swing the club faster. If you hit the ball high, they move the kick point up on the shaft so they can lower the ball flight. They can do everything with the shaft and the club. I mean, you still have to have some ability, but without a doubt, they've made it so the average player can hit it a little further and less crooked. The tour player can hit it a lot further and a lot less crooked.
I have a chance to work with a great guy, and he does a show on Blab with the Golf Kingdom right there, Rob Strano. Yeah. But Rob has just got a great personality over at Kelly Plantation. Works with Joe Theismann and those guys. But I remember when he called one day, he's like, "Hey, Chad, I need you to do a favor. Joe Theismann needs to cut a commercial at your studio." And he goes, "You mind doing that?" I was like, "You think for 2 seconds, I'm going to say no to that wherever I am right now. Like, even if I was at the golf course, I'll be like, I'll be down there, Joe. So that's actually how I got to know Joe. And
Nice.
Joe actually watches the show, and he always says loves the show. And when he says something like that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know,
it
like
is,
some
right?
people, like in passing, like, love your show, and be like, hey, know what channel it's on? Be like, you're the one with the dog guy, right? Susan Milan that watch. I'm like, okay, close enough, right? But I wish. That guy makes like $10 million for walking dogs. But Joe, when he said that, that meant a lot. But you know that Rob likes to use a lot of different techniques.
Sure.
And one of the things is when you're out there teaching a lot of the kids, there are always those infomercials. Maybe I saw too many of them at 2 a.m. It said a lot about my life back in the day. But the ones with the clubs that would break off, and if you didn't swing back, it would snap. And do you use a lot of those with the players? Because I know you teach younger kids, and sometimes when you get too into that, it starts to take away from the basics of what they really need to be focusing on as kids. But what do you usually do with that?
You know, I use I don't use that many Medicus kind of gadgets and those kind of things. I do have a Medicus putter that's actually very good. But I don't use that. I use video analysis and split screens and comparisons to tour players and those kind of things. But, you know, so I found something very interesting. The guy that built Osceola Golf Course, his name was Bill Milhorn. He worked and taught golf in the 20s, played golf with Hogan, played in the Ryder Cup, won 4 PGA Tour events. He used a sling blade to teach people, a grass whip.
Okay.
And I actually have a copy of the Milhorn grass whip in my office. His protege, Bobby Shays, down in Fort Lauderdale, sent it to me when I got back to Pensacola. I was doing research about the history of the golf course. So if you can imagine taking a grass blade, nobody listening today knows what that is, but you're cutting grass with this thing, and you're swinging this little blade, and it cuts the grass. And you swing it down, you cut the grass with the roots. It's got a shaft or a long stick and a flat blade at the bottom, like a sickle, but you cut grass with it. He invented or thought about and used that for teaching, and I still use it today with beginners. It's got a grip on it and a graphite shaft, and I said, okay, you don't have to have any golf skill at all. Cut the grass with this blade this way. There's no lifting. There's no chopping. It's just a sweep. That's the whole concept of hitting a golf ball. And it was done 1926. Yeah.
And see, I stayed away from the comments like you guys had lunch last week when you were talking. See, look at this. See, I told you. Now that I've made that, you're like, you still made the comment. What do you mean? You just did that, right? No, Adrian, when it comes down to the game of golf, though, we need to understand that it has changed a lot, but a lot of these younger golfers, the one thing that you can't teach is, I always say in sports, you can get better at it, but you can't teach that it factor. I know that sounds cliche, but there are some people like MJ in the final minutes. MJ wasn't the best field goal percent shooter ever, but in the final couple minutes of game, you got out of his way because you know when he was in that zone, there was nothing. There are baseball players when you know, like when Freddie Freeman for the Atlanta Braves is hot, he's going to go 4 for 4 every time at the plate, and you're going to have to walk him. There's guys like that we've always known. Golf, Tiger Woods has been in that zone, and there was nothing you can do.
Or Jack.
Yeah, but do you see with a lot of the younger golfers today, a lot of these guys, the game. We've changed as a society, and what I mean by that is a lot of kids today, they'll get upset. They'll get, their emotions get the best of them on a lot of ways. When I played at 35, I wasn't that pitcher that wore my emotions on my sleeve. I might look in for a couple extra pitches, so I know how that feels because I was the guy that could shoot a 70, but I could also shoot a 92 on the same day if I played 36 holes.
Right.
Do you see a lot of the younger golfers being able to maintain that, or is it just really depend on personality? But is that getting trained in the game? Because I feel like kids growing up were more stoic. Some of their parents went off to war. Things happened where they had to be that way because they had to be an adult at 15, 16, where kids today still feel at 25 they can live a life of just whatever they want to do.
Well, I think a lot of it's inherited, or you start to watch golf on TV in the Tiger era coming on, and Tiger and early in his career would slam clubs and be upset, and you add them up and he shoots 67 and that kind of thing. And whereas in my deal, I'm watching the Nicklases and I watched professionals that were more into staying calm at all times, and then they understood that they're going to hit some bad shots. Well, Tiger understands that he's going to hit some bad shots, but everybody cannot beat Tiger.
No.
But they started looking at him, taking one hand off the club and those kind of things on his finish, and then he looked at it a lot of times as him being disgusted with the shot. He actually saved shots that were going left by taking the right hand off and finishing up like that. So the average person wasn't interpreting his actions the way they should. They were looking at it as, darn, I should be upset every time I don't hit my 2-iron 255 yards straight up in the air and land it softly on the green. First of all, you don't have that shot, okay? He has that shot, and if he doesn't pull it off, he's upset because he's pulled it off 100 times previously to that. But yeah, it's one of those things that you watch enough baseball, you're going to see a bunch of guys chewing. you watch basketball, you're going to see a lot of guys flopping. And then, it's not that you're trying to pass that on as a golf professional or as a professional athlete. It's just part of their business. Sometimes it's misinterpreted.
I mean, one of the reasons I brought that up, because it was a very broad question, but you also teach a lot of younger kids that I know when I think the respect for adults or coaches is still there. I'm not around the game. I'm not going to be like I can answer everything, but I do understand that there was a lot of things that you can't get away with back in the day when you played. If you spoke up to your coach or told your dad what was up, and you saw that with Tiger Woods even when Earl Woods passed. He was a different golfer. He was. Yeah, and not to say he fell off, but he was not that guy that was winning 10 tournaments out of 12 he played in. Right. I look at a guy like Tiger Woods, and that's one example, and he's a different example for everybody because nobody right now is Tiger Woods. Right. But when you see kids today, I mean, you might give a tip and they said, well, I read something differently. I mean, do you have people that are saying that? Because to me, everybody thinks they know everything if you go on Facebook and social media today, when apparently the experts don't, and it's just the world we live in. But as a golf coach, do you run into that a lot?
Yeah, I do sometimes. I mean, you have to take a different approach with kids and
their parents too. I was going to say
that have that perspective. Some people really need to learn by their experiences and their failures. So I let them fail. I let them experience the tough part of it, and if they come back and understand that, okay, this is the concept you need to go to, great. If it works out the other way around, that they see a method that works better for them, I think that's great. Everybody's different with the way they learn, and the way they get better. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. We're all kind of a little bit wired differently from that perspective. So we tend to even be visual learners or learning by experience, or the old Ben Hogan added statement is the secret's in the dirt, the practice.
Well, Adrian, we always leave on a note. I got to dress up with my daughter and do some fashion shows earlier today, so it was a highlight of my life. But when it comes down to, and I cherish every moment of that, but when it comes down to,
you have pictures.
Yeah, I do have. For sure. I'm that dad. I take photos everywhere. Yeah, believe me, I do. I wanted to be forever, but when it comes down to with your kids, and I know it's different times, but have you learned the realm of Zooms and everything else with your kids? Have you been able to keep in touch with friends and family pretty much?
I part of the trip going to St. Augustine, my youngest son is now playing professional golf mini tour events. He participated he didn't play very well. He shot 75, 71 in St. Augustine, but
nobody wants to hear he did not shoot well. I know he's also a pro, so I'm trying to soak that in when you said that. We got
a chance to spend some time with him there, and also in Orlando. So, yeah, and then my oldest is in Dallas, working for Capital One Golf, but he still plays a lot of golf and corporate golf kind of thing. So, we keep in touch with the Zoom. We FaceTime. They still send me pictures, front view and down line view of their golf swings, and I do the analysis and send it back to them. Yeah.
Well, you see. I would send you my pick, but it would give your phone a virus, so I'm not going to do that. You're going to get like, I've been hacked. What is this? Like,
my phone needs a ventilator.
One of those videos that says you might want to look away. This is too ugly of content. Like, I don't know. But Adrian, it is always great catching up. An hour goes by fast, and I know it's one of these things where golf has been one of those sports that have given an opportunity because people need that. I've learned in this business or in life, people don't know. The number one thing is sports is an outlet. When you get older, you realize. I remember crying when Aaron Boone hit a home run against the Boston Red Sox, and it took me like 3 days to recover. And I look back now, and I said, he doesn't know who I am. Trot Nixon didn't know who I was. Pedro Martinez, Tim Wakefield actually did because he was from my hometown, but that's irrelevant. Overall, you understand that these guys, they have families at home that they do anything for. And when our family went through things with kids and opportunities, I mean, I would get done with the show at 7 o'clock and run to the hospital at the NICU for 4 months and sit there until 3 in the morning and not care anything about what Tom Brady was getting in his fantasy ratings and those kind of things. And I realize that family comes first in all of that, but golf has been one to give people a few minutes or a few hours of an outlet, whether it's on the driving range or going to a course, to get away from what's the inevitable, that businesses are shutting down around us, that people are afraid, that this is serious, that we're looking at reports every day like they're numbers on a board, that you're out there betting on horses and you just see numbers going by and you're sitting there going, this is human life. Regardless of what you think of this, these are human beings that we're all in this together on this planet. And it is it's been tough, but golf, I know, has given a lot of people. So I thank you for being one of the people out there at the heart of helping people get in, be safe on the golf course at Osceola. And we're always looking forward to doing this again next week.
Outstanding, Chad. Thanks for having me. You have a great weekend.
Absolutely, you too. Adrian Stills, Osceola Golf Course. Check them out right there as they are open from 7 to 7.
Yes, sir. 6:30.
Except for me. I get the 7:30 thing. It has been getting – have you noticed, by the way? This is me just now talking like we're off work here. Have you noticed, though, it's been getting a lot it seems there's been a lot more sun lately until the night. What's going on with that?
You know, today it cleared up nicely. It was tough this morning, and then it just got really nice with a breeze. I will tell you, St. Augustine and Orlando, which is the hottest part of the state of Florida, it is so hot down there in this time of year. And I lived there for 23 years. But it's getting to be. I just hope we go to the rest of the season with no hurricanes, and we just kind of make our way through the rest of the summer. So.
Well, that's now that I know you live down there too, I actually one of my family members was coach down at Flagler, so we'll have a conversation there. So there you go. But that we'll actually have that one off air. Adrian, appreciate the time as always, and looking forward to talking to you again here soon.
Outstanding.
All right, Adrian Stills teeing it up right here at Osceola Golf Course. Check him out. Beautiful place right there to go out and play some golf and enjoy some time and get some great lessons from a pro that has been there, done that, and just as you can see, class act, and lucky to get to work with them. When we come back, we'll get to more on the NCAA, talking a 72-hour protocol in testing, and we'll also talk more on what's going on around the NFL. Not a great story after a week of the Washington Redskins. Not another great story. They have more news for a team that also isn't a great story on the field. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, the lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body than Wilson likes to throw to. Big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Locally owned Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Tadalafil, the FDA-approved generic for Cialis, is now here, and the cost savings are huge. Save 80% on the 20 milligram tablets, 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy, 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola, and cash in on the savings today.
From First Take to your radio.
Some players are going to get less because Patrick Mahomes got more. Now, Mahomes is such a good dude and such a team player, and also from a selfish point of view, I'm sure wants to win lots of Super Bowls, that he did not sign the kind of deal that hamstrings the team going forward. He signed the kind of deal that will allow the team to be very competitive around him, and because of his greatness, likely win more Super Bowls.
1 till 2, weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Dan gets so mad that there isn't one dissenting voice.
It's not even that much of a risk, Mike. It's a 6.
Stugotz does that all the time. He doesn't get any credit for it.
No, but no one with credibility dares risk it because they all just want to put stars up next to their name and pick the most obvious possible thing.
Thanks, Dan.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, 9 till noon, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I think there needs to be a Adrian Stills teed up section because I'm playing him like we're getting Shaggy going and stuff like that. Every week just saying, what do you? That was a indication to get on that. No, I'm just joking.
I mean, there's songs on here that are perfect for him. I will work on that.
Listen, I dropped the Masters on him, like the most overplayed song ever right there.
I'll see if I can get to you week after next. We'll get that. We'll get that going.
Now, the Masters song, and you know it, right? Who doesn't, right? Okay, I was going to say. But it doesn't it seems sort of suitable if you didn't know it was the Masters song for like the times we're in to walk around. Dun, 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 dun. Like one of those movies right there. Like the sailboat went out to sea and you'll never see him again. One of those moments. Right now we do have in golf, Tony Finau leading at 6 under par. It's been playing tough though. Tiger Woods at even par, as well as Phil Mickelson. Looking at Bryson DeChambeau, 1 over.
Did you see his 423-yard
I did.
massacre of a drive?
I did. I did see it, and I don't even know how that works. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Man, by the way,
it's ridiculous.
J-Lo and A-Rod, I saw this when I was sitting there waiting,
Yeah. Whoa, this is a family show. Oh, no. Sorry, I thought you just said you're showing pictures of J-Lo. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Not going in, whatever. Anyway, they flew to Foxborough to talk to Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
Because they want to know how, because they're fixing to be the owners of the Mets and all this other stuff, getting all that stuff together. They want to be good owners. So they said they went and met Robert Kraft.
Oh, I mean,
I mean, from an owner's perspective, it's great. He's done a great job. It's the after party that gets
you know they live down in South Florida too.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to get something else from Bob.
Big game, Bob.
I'm just saying, whatever is. And speaking of that, I guess it's a good time. There's no easy way to cover this story, but you got to cover it. It's our job. These are the moments where you just sigh in. But the Washington Redskins, after a week of finally coming to a bunch of sponsors like FedEx are pulling out, Daniel Snyder said, from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to change the name. And
literally the bottom of his heart.
Bottom of his heart. Right
literally
there.
The bottom.
The Grinch movie where it's right there. Well, this report, 15 women alleged sexual misconduct from former Washington employees. Now, it has been cleared that Daniel Snyder or Bruce Allen, the head coach, the owner and the GM, are not the ones involved. That's what it just said a few minutes ago up there, that they were not. Now, not to say we have all the answers on this, but among some of the personnel accused, Alex Santos, pro personnel director,
which he's been let go.
Richard Mann,
gone.
Play-by-play announcer Larry Michael. How did the radio play-by-play announcer? Not to say this is something that you want to be, but this is sort of up with the ring of what's been going on with Epstein and some of the other stuff going on.
Close group.
Where's this guy getting invited here?
I know.
Who's calling them? I'm not saying I
understand.
I would 100% decline and also report them as a.
It's just not who you expected to see.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying, but who? Yeah. The ring is we're talking moguls, presidents, and but other people. But when it comes down to this, the radio play-by-play guy getting the call for that. I'm just saying. Once again,
he knows something.
He's gone, and he accepted, and he's a bad person for that. But overall, this is
it's like punishing a dog.
I wanted to make this very clear. I would not be excited to get that call, but it is okay to be recognized for something, even if you don't want that recognition. If everybody was at your house the next day and being this is a terrible way to look at it, but oh, praise Lucifer, and you'd be and there's a whole people I'm not the devil out here. I know Bobby Boucher's mom. Well, what I'm saying is it'd be terrible, but you'd also be why did 5,000 people in my yard think I am? No, I'm getting some.
I wonder why you're the devil.
Listen, once again, I would not condone. I'd say get off my lawn and go home, but it would be somebody recognizes you
sports stuff.
This can't. Any way we go down this path, it's going to lead to something. Didn't need to lead to people being on my lawn, but for this, all three depart. They're all gone from the organization. But there's probably going to be more to this, and this is the worst time for anybody to be sitting there right now with this baggage, because you already have been the story over the Redskins, and then you look like that dope Homer Simpson moment because you couldn't find a way to get the patents for the names. If everybody's why haven't they picked a name? It's because some rich dude out there in living in the Hamptons right now went and spent about $150,000 on a bunch of patents, even the Radskins, which probably was a waste of $10,000. But he took every name like the Red Tails and other ones, and at this point, they have to pay him a good amount of money, and those things don't happen overnight. So instead of being able to immediately own the rights to do that, it's going to be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I do. I saw there was another guy. I don't know if it's. I think it's another guy has 40 different trademarks. And he actually said that he would let them have it for free. But what's the point of trademarking something if you're going to let somebody have it for free? I'm curious. There's got to be something, I'll let you have it for free, but.
I'll let you have this for free. He wasted $10,000 on the Radskins.
But I think this is a different guy, though, who has 40 other trademarks that supposedly they may want to use. Maybe he has the Warriors or whoever we were talking about.
You know the person I am, just based on that guy spiting me, I would not take any of his names. Be like, well, the Generals and the Red Tails, those are the ones, right? Be like, we're not touching any of his. We're done here. We're moving on to another.
If you could start a team, real honestly, if you could start a team, what would you call your team? Where it has to be PG-13, where you can't get in trouble.
Well, I know Hooperton already took the corn jerkers out there for that high school in Wichita, so that's off the table. That's real, by the way, people.
Yeah,
that's
is.
very. My mom's a proud corn. Okay, we're going to go ahead. That's an actual bumper sticker. That's why. But overall, I think going with the Argos would be pretty cool.
Argos is a sweet one.
That's a pretty good one, right?
The blue and the green too.
I like
is pretty sick too.
Just trying to gain some
that is
viewers
yeah,
after
that's a home,
saying a bunch of people are going to be on my lawn after. I'm just saying this is I'll go with the Argos.
There you go.
There we go.
All right.
Gaining back some love here. I'm going with their colors today. And the second we're done with this, I'll meet with people from the Miami Marlins and say the same thing. Just going with whatever. That's why you don't wear the brand logo. Like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at that UWF, and be like, yeah, and then leave there. Be like, come on, Marlins. Overall, though, I don't know what's going to come of this, but nothing good is going to come of this. And at this point,
how much more are we going to find out? That's the true thing.
Somebody I saw, the report that you do not need to buy in. First off, don't go to the comment pages ever and try to buy into these people's comments. That's not how it works. But when the guy goes, all of this stuff off the field is going to really be a detriment to the Redskins when they do get back on the field in September, where I just started to laugh out loud. People type LOL, but they're not. They're like in their car actually eating. Don't do that, sir. Now, especially if you do the uppercase LOL with like the exclamation marks, now you're just a con artist. But if you, we know. How many times have you actually laughed? I'm not that worried, but how many times you actually laughed when you wrote ha ha ha? Very few times.
Very few.
Very few times.
Yeah. I'm kind of
Cats out of the bag, people. It's a shocker.
I'm smirking when I usually
some lady's crying. Like, every time I thought I said that. Every time that GIF. But what we do need to know with the Redskins and that, when I laughed out loud when I saw that. Like,
you LOL'd?
Yeah, because I didn't type it in. I didn't want anything to do with this comment board or put my name on what's going on right now with their comment board. But I think it's funny when people think that this might be a detriment to the Redskins. It's been a detriment to the Redskins? Their roster every single year for like the last 2 decades. So let's not sit here and
ownership putting that roster together.
Yes. So
is Ron Rivera? How's Ron Rivera right now?
You got Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio though on that same staff. That's a good staff.
Coaches,
great
yes.
staff. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, you got Ron Rivera coming over, gonna go ahead and try to change things. Boy, did he probably not realize what he was truly going to be changing everything, because this is a complete overhaul. Does Daniel Snyder sell the team? Is there enough pressure now? Because look, a lot of these shareholders are fixing to get rid of theirs. They've already talked about, look, I'm out. So
it's so hard for professional owners to sell a football team. Because once you're out, you're out.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's also sort of that force field wall where people can sell, but anybody that has a little bit of smarts in ownership knows that you keep 51%, or at least you keep the majority. That's why there's a word called majority and minority owner. And when people hear that, it has nothing to do with skin color. It is just the percentages. Somebody's
like, clarify that.
Yeah, somebody would be like, "Oh, that's not fair. Why do they have a different name?" Be like, "Sir, do you know when we watch Korean baseball that when they say you have minorities coming over to play, that means they're taking players from the United States? You're only allowed 3 minorities. That means like Dan Straley, who looks like a countryman from Wisconsin. Like we've been labeled. People don't understand. They label a certain word and think of one thing.
Yeah.
But we are minorities when you go to Korea. The difference with this is, I think that even if people start fading out, in the NFL, there will be buyers when the season gets going because it's so profitable right now. Those owners are banking. That's why Roger Goodell's still around, is because those guys are banking. They're making so much money on the split share in the revenue plan of what's going on with TV, the NFL network, with fantasy football right now. They're making so much cash. So they're not going to stop that. He knows that. Once all this fades, this conversation about the 15 women, and it shouldn't fade, it needs to be taken seriously, but we do need to understand it's a different time we're in now, and these guys are making so much money. Let's go to the phone lines. 850-623-1330 is the number. Caller, who's this?
This is Bo.
Hey, Bo, how's it going?
Good, man. Can I change subjects on you?
I would love you to change subjects. I didn't want to get into this. I went an hour and 40 minutes with trying to get away from this subject.
Well, I've recently just moved here from North Carolina, and I really enjoy your show. Here's my question. As a retired high school and small college football coach, what do you guys think of, I think, the asinine ruling by the Alabama High School Athletic Association that because they missed a week of spring practice. They moved up practice in the height of the pandemic when they canceled football practice when it was at its beginning point or its birth. And when I read that as a former high school coach, these guys that have coach speak where we care about our young men and, their safety. But for the Alabama high school, I hope I'm making sense, but for them to move up, to give them an extra week of practice in the height of the pandemic, why would you do that? I mean, I can't get my hands around that.
It's because the people in charge of making those decisions are not making the best decisions for the kids. I mean, I think
has nothing to do with the kids at all.
Well, not the kids, but
no, I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
What I mean.
The decision that was made was not about the kids at all.
No, it sounds like that move was not made in anybody, because we do understand that as a former coach and somebody that's been around the game and seems educated on the game, Bo, you know that a lot of people, you can get football players out there in 2.5, 3 weeks. It's not ideal, but you can get them ready for a season. Both myself and JP have been around the field and played, and we know that it's not ideal, but this whole entire situation is not ideal. The people that are trying to push for things to come back in full, they're not doing that with the best interest, in my opinion.
Well, guys, I couldn't agree with you more, and I'll leave it with this, and you can look it up if you want. Not that this makes any difference, but I played in the Canadian Football League for 7 years. We would go, our training camp was not as long as what Alabama's proposing some of these kids be put through. And to move it back because you missed a week of spring practice, and, it's just the coaches and the ADs are just out of control, that they feel like they got to get one step up on somebody, one step ahead. But to add another week right now is, we could get ready in the CFL in 4 or 5 weeks. And if you can do it on that level, I know it's not the NFL. But when I played at Appalachian State, we'd report August the 1st, and we'd kick off the last week in August. So go figure. But when I read that, I'm thinking, who in the world is in charge of making these decisions? And it's not. And if I were parents, I would just revolt.
And Bo, we have to actually go to a break. I just realized we're a break behind, but we're going to talk about this and address it on the way back.
Absolutely.
But, hey, I appreciate the call, and thank you for giving us a call. Thank you for changing subjects, too. I didn't want to go down that path of the Redskins, but we really appreciate that. And don't be a stranger. Call in anytime you have a question. We will always be here to answer it.
Well, I've just started watching your show, and I really love it. You guys make so much sense. Hey, take care, man.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
He said we make sense. That's
nothing like saying to somebody that will always be there for you. And
I know,
in
you
about
creep
15
me
minutes, no, I'm out. I'm actually going to an award ceremony for my
I'm going to
uncle.
give Bo your number, your cell phone number to reach.
I'll always be here for you. But tomorrow I'm actually off for the first time. It's been a while since actually. Let's go ahead and let's take a break. Sports Drive. Thanks for the call, Bo. I love your shirts too. Bo knows football. He does.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 6:47 on this Thursday afternoon. I just realized we're 2 minutes over the next break, so I'm trying to we'll ease in here. Nothing I say
we're
is,
always
is
behind.
Short-winded, but we'll get to some of this. Danica and Aaron Rodgers called off their 2-year relationship, and that one is easy enough to move on from. We're done with that. Looking at Mark Emmert, has talked about needs better handles on the pandemic to play. This is where, to me, I think we all understand that. I mean, if you walk in and you're one of the best construction guys in town and you're like, been looking at this house, I think based on what we're seeing here, you need a front door. Going to probably need a couple hinges in there for it to be able to open. And a garage door that at this time, probably with your cars, probably want some type of like electronic gadget to open it. Be like, who hired this guy? Could have done this myself. At this point, we want you to give us answers that how are you doing to talk to everybody right now to keep this under control to as much as we can. We can't get the right answer. We're not going to have the right answer right now. But you need to be giving us updates. You need to say, you know what, right now in the SEC, last week we had 15 teams that had 28 players. This week, those teams have 2 or 3. Right now, based on that, if we can keep them within the practices, we talk every day to the commissioners, and every commissioner is aware. If your numbers are at this level, we expect you to keep it at that level. Stay at 2, don't go back to 28. If it goes back up, then we're going to come to your school or we're going to talk in a Zoom meeting to why this is happening and try to fix it. Or your team will be reprimanded or your players will lose out on the season and we'll find new ones to do it. Give us answers to show some way, but don't just say at this point, we need better handles on this. Like, you should be ancillary to what's happening around you if you can focus on getting your players on there, because I think most have accepted, even though we saw Bristol Motor Speedway with fans, we still can play a season without fans. Most people, I hope, have accepted that if we can get college football in without fans, then we're going to be okay as long as we get college football within the safety of what's going on around us. But it is doable, and there are leagues starting as we speak that are doing it in our face, and we should realize that and use these as examples to something that is unprecedented.
But Mark Emmert is scared to death
about losing a bunch of cash.
These Power 5 conferences, because the talks of we thought this was 5-10 years down the road of them leaving and doing their own thing, which ultimately will turn it into semi-pro football. Because we're already talking about that with players getting paid and things like that. Once again, I said this before. I went to a small college. I went to UWF here. I got great care. I got taken care of. I got the best food. I got the best medical care. I got the ultimate training, all that kind of stuff. I went to University of Mobile, transferred out, went over there. Same thing. And I did some rough numbers, and the lowball number of what I got from a money perspective was somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000, and I'm not even getting all these other things that these big players are.
And you weren't even on scholarship. I'm just
to go there, I definitely had to be.
It's called the Cam Newton Scholarship. It's a Cam Newton Award right there.
But what I'm saying is, for people to say these guys don't get anything, who are you kidding? How blind are you? I'm sorry, you're not going to make me feel sorry for some of these guys. When I went to small schools and got fantastic care, I loved it. And let's be honest, the schools like UWF, they're not absolutely rolling in the dough. Those Division II players there, they get treated well. But you're telling me those Division II players get treated the same as those players over there at University of Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan? You're fooling yourself. These guys get all kinds of stuff. So, no, they're not getting physically paid, because technically that's illegal, even though some of them do. I'm not going to get into that. But what I am saying is Mark Emmert is scared to death to lose these guys. I'm sorry, I will say this. I don't care. He's a coward. He has been nowhere during this pandemic, and then all of a sudden he wants to speak up, and he's like, it's not good. It's not good. Nobody cares, Mark. You know why? Because you have been nowhere during this entire time. We're hearing from the commissioners and all this other stuff, which is technically part of your job too. I know that they're doing their own thing. I know they make their own rules to a certain extent. But where have you been in all this except to basically come out and say nothing but negative stuff? I don't care if it's negative or positive. You stay out of this at this point. We haven't heard from you now. Why do we need to hear from you, period? Because guys like Greg Sankey, Bob Bowlesby, even the Big Ten and the Pac-12, they made a decision. We heard from them. They made the decision. It is what it is. No matter what happens, they said conference only right now for the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Okay.
Good leaders do not put fear in the people. And right now, Bo on the phone, who was a coach and a player, us as fans who have been around the game as broadcasters, Brent Baird, who works 24/7 around college football, all these people are waiting for answers. We all know what, at this point, with families and friends, what's happening. We all know in different states it is different. What we also know is we want positive people giving us information when it happens and hopefully getting the right results. I don't take results and push an agenda one way or the other. I take those results and I take everything in. Now, you're supposed to be the one, though, that is not installing more fear. And by saying we need better handles on the pandemic to play, you sound like the guy right now on one of the chat boards that is just trying to cancel football. And I'm not saying we're going to get in football, but we're looking for leadership. We're looking in for opportunities to say right now, like I said, those positive numbers that were at 28, 27 for some of these schools are down to 2. That's a good sign that these schools are figuring it out. It's not perfect. We need better answers, but we're showing optimism, like Greg Sankey said yesterday at the SEC. Not, we need better handles to play, because I'm not going to get paid a lot and our contracts are.
But he added nothing to that. So if you're going to say that, then say, okay, give me some details. Give me some cold, hard facts. Because, look, I love optimism. I'm trying to be as optimistic because at this point, it costs you nothing to be optimistic. No. I'm hopeful, like everybody else that loves sports is. But I am realistic, understanding we have a big problem ahead of us. But seeing signs, like I said, I know it's different for, because with NASCAR and everything, but there were almost 30,000 fans in the stands of $160,000 capacity facility. So it shows we can slowly start to get our way there. Like, there is protocols. It's a lot of stuff to jump through. And it's going to be way easier for Power 5 schools than Group of 5 schools because of the money that they have to be able to do the testing and all this other stuff. I understand that. What I'm saying is, if you're going to say this kind of stuff, give me some facts. Don't give me that Joe
Mark,
Schmo
you've been around for a while. If you want to retire, this is the perfect time. Just to go and say, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to go out to Maui, and we're done here, because that's what needs to happen after reading these stories. Is you obviously are not the person right now like what we're seeing with Adam Silver. Some of these guys that are figuring it out. NBA basketball had to jump through a ton of hoops. And remember, they were going through it trying to figure out their season during Black Lives Matter and the protests, which shouldn't end because of after what we saw. That's not the point of it, was 2 weeks and then forget. Right. We should use this platform for the betterment of everyone going forward. But to get all the NBA players to agree, or at least to find a way to get the NBA teams there to play during that, when most of the players like, this is going to mess up what's happening, it was an incredible task, and he figured it out. And it's not perfect. We're not ready yet. It's not, but they're ready to play. Start giving us answers, to giving us reasons why we believe in you, not the pessimistic guy on the couch that's yelling the same stuff. I'm at least telling people, when places go from 25 people testing positive, and the next week after the 10 days, they come back and they get 2 people testing it, that teams are making the right choices and at least showing that they care. Why can't we be there too? I
agree.
Let's go to a break. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K, every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330, FM 99.1.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Thanks again for everybody tuning in today on Blab TV. We appreciate it. Thanks for all of our calls. Our guest, Adrian Sills of Osceola Golf Course. Tomorrow on the show, I'll be out. JP will be holding it down with Coach Tanner. I'll be out there to help honor my uncle, so looking forward to that. I have nothing to do with the ceremony. Thanks again for tuning in for all of us here at Blab TV and ESPN Pensacola. 850-623-1330 is the number. Right now, some of the other stuff to get to the headlines. Well, looking at Zion Williamson, he's left the bubble to go to an urgent.
Give out our number.
Oh yeah,
we have zero time left.
You know that's a tradition on the show.
You haven't done it in a while.
See, that can be used as not the best leadership values of a radio host, but however, we give enough. This is.
I follow your leadership.
Yeah, thank you. I
blindly sometimes.
Yes, and sometimes it's
dangerous.
It's like putting your money on green on the roulette wheel, but I appreciate it. But I just look right now and say, everything I'm reading for Mark Emmert is
get him out of here.
Yeah, he needs to retire at this point. 72-hour. Basically, the one thing we do know is the NCAA Sports Science Institute on Thursday released extended guidelines to help schools continue to navigate a return to fall sports, including testing and results within 72 hours of competition in high-risk contact sports. But NCAA President Mark Emmert conceded that the virus is trending in the wrong direction.
Huh. Good to know.
Okay, so if the virus is trending in the wrong direction, but all these other sports are opening up around you, then you're trending in the wrong directions and trying to get your sport back. Mic drop right there on that one. So every other league is opening up. They're ready to go in the next. There are 3 major sports that will begin. How long, we don't know. But right now, 3 major sports to begin in the next 2 weeks. But the NCAA is saying right now, the pandemic, we can't figure it out in 8 weeks.
All I'm saying is where's he been during this entire time? Like, where has he been?
And the people that keep coming back with, well, there's more contact in football. Dude, I want to be like, once you're tested and you're on the field, there isn't some like Captain Planet tornado that forms with more people touching if they're all negative into a positive test.
Daily at that.
If you have 22 people hitting each other and you're all negative, then you'll stay negative after the hits.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Sports Center.
I'm Steve Lennox. Washington's NFL football team releasing a statement today in response to the Washington Post report on allegations from 15 women who previously worked for the organization on sexual harassment and verbal abuse. Statement said the Washington Redskins football team takes issues of employee conduct seriously. While we do not speak to specific employee situations publicly, when new allegations of conduct are brought forward that are contrary to these policies, we address them promptly. ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
The NFL is going to need to act on this. And again, I would think that the Redskins as an organization would be subject to discipline. This is something that doesn't reflect well in the NFL. It would not surprise me if there were discipline involved here, a fine involved here. But it goes beyond that at this point in time. It goes to making fundamental changes that are required in our society of things that are completely unacceptable, that have gone on allegedly in their organization from these various individuals.
ESPN's Adam Schefter on SportsCenter. There are no allegations against team owner Daniel Snyder. Tiger Woods playing for the first time since February. And opening round 71 today at the Memorial Tournament for the first round. Woods 5 shots behind the leader, Tony Finau. Toronto Blue Jays have been given clearance by Ontario and Toronto to play regular season games at the Rogers Centre amid the coronavirus pandemic. Team now awaits approval from Canada's federal government. Mets ace Jacob deGrom says he plans on being ready to pitch opening day. deGrom, MRI on his back on Wednesday. Results did not show anything serious.
Coming up on Friday, a few big contracts signed in the NFL, and some weren't. We have the winners, losers, and dominoes, and a Tiger update. The best to worst sound of the week and more. Friday on Golic and Wingo, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2.